Well, hello everybody, and welcome to this episode of the Hewkii and Flammeus show. Woo! All right, this time we had our very good friend Sarah Knapik on the show. We had some very interesting conversations about all things spirituality and Bufo, that is 5-MeO-DMT, which is quite the hot topic for us on the podcast these days, honestly. And Hughes.
Yeah, I thought it was a super fun discussion. It was one of those where you could have kept on going for hours and hours, and you had to end it somewhere. But super stimulating, and I think you're gonna enjoy it.
Oh yeah, super. Go for it. Enjoy the soothing, relaxing, and wise presence of Sarah Knapik. We had a great time. We hope you will too.
Welcome to the show, Sarah Knapik.
Thank you so much.
I would love to dive into all your interesting journeys and stories through transformation and all that, but maybe we can just start with introducing you and what your current work is.
Yeah. Well, I'm super stoked to be here today, and thank you to Martin Ball for the connection of finding each other. Um, yeah, I'm currently like where I'm at in this moment in my life on August 3rd, 2026. I'm running a women's program called the Embodied Medicine Woman, where I help women like heal their childhood trauma, understand the nervous system, understand energy, learn how God works, and through their own healing work, really bring their medicine through them, whether that's like actually physically serving a medicine or being an artist or a healer or a coach, in whatever way it is. Like we always have all of our gifts. Our channel is just blocked with our perspective and our past a lot of the time. So I help clear space for that. And in that program is my own framework that birthed through from my work with Bufo. It's called Devotion, the Path to Peace. And it was my own healing journey that I walked, that I've done hundreds and hundreds of journeys with Bufo. And I was like, how the fuck do I integrate any of this? And really like the birthing of like how all my work in the world is today. And then at the end of 2024, I filed with the state of California to have my own Bufo church called Altar of the Heart in California, where I can like legally serve psychedelics to help with the work that I'm doing.
Wow, and how's that going? But
It's had a couple of lives. It kind of feels like in a way it's like on a pause. Like I have a really big vision for it and I can see it and I can feel it. And I'm like, it's like foundationally building up pieces right now. And like my work with Boothbo has changed a lot too. So yeah.
mm-hmm.
It's currently still taking flight.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, I just mean the doing it legally and all that, getting permission
It's
to
really
do that.
nice.
Mhm.
It's just like a level, like I never felt a lot of fear in carrying this medicine since I started or anything, but just that extra layer of getting to be able to talk about it on my social media, make flyers and put them up around town. Like it doesn't have to be as secretive, and that feels really good. And I also live in a place where psychedelics are decriminalized, like in my place in California where I live in Oakland. Yeah.
Really now? I did
Yeah.
not know.
You can literally like go on almost any corner here and there's a mushroom store, a cannabis store. I was in the city in San Francisco the other day and there was like a booth for an entheogenic church selling DMT pens, mushroom
In
chocolates.
San Francisco, I was there last year, yo. What?
Oh my
Are you
God.
serious? I
Yeah,
missed
it was like
that.
just like on the street on a booth. And I
Are
was
you
like, oh my gosh.
serious?
And then of course I was like, oh my goodness, I run Altar of the Heart Church in Oakland and I'm serving 5-MeO DMT Bufo. And they were like, we're freaked out from that medicine.
Oh my.
I know. I'm like, but you're like selling DMT pens on the corner.
There's no way. Seriously, I swear it wasn't that far gone when I was there in October last year. Or was it? Did I
It
just
is
miss it?
now, though.
That
It's
is wild.
they've been around, but it's really popped. Yeah, but still Bufo 5-MeO is not like mainstream, right? Like it's still like a little bit more underground compared to some of the others. So
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's hard to get that stuff mainstream. It's maybe too confrontational.
I hope it never gets mainstream,
Yeah.
because the responsibility of working with it and carrying
Hmm.
it is so much bigger than
Mm,
a tea pen or eating mushroom chocolates, you know?
Hmm.
hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow, yeah. I mean, they had the cannabis stores all over the place already, and I did indulge, um,
Yeah.
walking around. Had a good time walking around the streets of San Francisco. Should have seen the look on my small town boy's face. I was just like, what? They make buildings that are that big anywhere in the world. Wow, this
Wow.
is amazing. This is
Did you put
wild.
some flowers in
Nice.
your hair?
Mm. I did not. I did not.
Darn. Want to see
Yeah.
that photo.
Well, but that's wild though. So, and it's interesting to hear you say that you don't think 5-MeO should be mainstream because
Yeah.
obviously a lot of people who are quote unquote pushing psychedelics um would tend to jump on the bandwagon of just like, like put LSD in the water stream and let's just get this over with, come on.
Surfing 24/7.
Yeah. But you seem to take a different stance there.
Mm, I mean, I think this medicine requires a different type of education and understanding to not only work with it, but especially if somebody to hold it and serve it to somebody else, that most people just don't have that like depth and capacity to truly hold or integrate an experience like 5-MeO Bufo offers us. I know when people reach that God state within, it's like all they want is for everybody else to feel that too. And I think that's where maybe that mainstream push can come through of like, oh, this feels like this feels so good. And like, yeah, it's our birthright to feel that. It's such a beautiful gift of that medicine that helps us like go deeper into ourselves and unravel more of our past and our limited perspectives. But like if you get your average person in who isn't even like capable of going into that work yet, what actually happens to that person after the experience? So I don't know. I like approach my work with Bufo with a lot of care and caution and like really understanding if somebody has the responsibility for it, you know.
Right.
And it's like it's not everybody's lifetime to know that they're God.
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've yet to see if it is mine, indeed. I'm realize now I'm the only 5-MeO virgin on this call right now. It's not something
What?
I've yeah, imagine that. I've gone in for psychedelic therapy with mushrooms and LSD and DMT as well. Just not
Okay.
5-MeO. And yeah, I'm curious, because every time me and Hewkii talk about this, it's like he's just like, dude, it's like there's no comparison, you just go so much deeper. And
Go deep.
yeah, it's got me curious for sure. I do
I
wanna take
bet.
take that ride one day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll just be there when it's right. The medicine calls you in.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean,
Mhm.
I want to highlight the fact that, speak about the fact that it maybe shouldn't be mainstream. I think the capacity for uh, positive effects is really high, but I think the capacity on the flip side for harm, if it's not done with enough care, I think is also much higher than with other psychedelics. And I think that's the reason
100%.
why it should be handled with much more care and professionalism. And that I would not want to see a world where people are buying this willy-nilly on the street without the proper regulation and trying to do things on their own. Um,
It would
Yeah.
be so bad.
yeah.
And I think this is where like the shadow and the light side of Bufo and 5-MeO come in, right? Because a lot of other psychedelics require some type of like lineage or like specific way of learning how to work with them and serve them. And Bufo and 5 doesn't quite have that. So I think that's really beautiful because it gives the person who's serving like an opportunity to find their own authentic way of holding space. And then the flip side of that is if you the person who's like really not leading with care and integrity and like reverence for the medicine and like this way of healing and getting to really experience the truth of what we are, if they're serving the medicine, they're not present, they're in a consciousness that's super restricted and busy, like that's all coming into the ceremony for the person that they're holding space for, and that can often have more damage than good. And then that person's like, yes, we get to experience these incredible expanded states of consciousness where the ego will shut offline and the nervous system will actually surrender to it, but then it does reform itself after the experience. So to actually for the person who got to have that experience of like going into that space of true love and God and non-duality, for them to integrate any of that, it's going to take the facilitator who's already been there, who's already learned how to navigate it, teach them how to integrate the experience.
Mm.
So I feel like that's where that gap comes in of, yeah, got to be really careful who you sit with this with.
Mm.
And yeah, what you say that there's really not a long tradition.
Hmm.
This is very new in a sense.
Hmm.
There's not been hundreds or thousands of years where people have really figured out all the ways to work around this. And I see a lot of progress being made. People really educating themselves and creating educational systems where they can learn of each other. And I got to basically participate or be a guinea pig, so to speak, in a training. Uh,
I so wish I'd been there.
yeah, because Martin
I want
Paul
to
was in
hear about
Iceland.
it.
Yeah, he was he
Yeah.
was.
What did he come? Did he come to Iceland for you guys, or did you meet him while he was there?
I mean, he said, if I've been his guy in Iceland for a while, uh,
Okay, cool.
but but no, he was brought here by people that basically wanted to learn of him and create like a little uh, training workshop where they could learn of him and learn of each other, uh, serve each other, and train
Hmm.
that way. And he told the group like, can we train on Helgi? Because I was curious to.
Nice.
I'd done it before, but I really wanted to go in again. So I got to be. So I did not get served by Martin, but he was kind of standing over, watching that everything was being done properly, and so he
Beautiful.
was involved in the whole thing. And yeah, and I can't speak highly enough of the whole experience, the professionalism of just the deep attention and care that's needed, the
Are
presence
you
that's
not? Are you
needed
not
from
going
the
to talk about the
facilitators.
person before you? Is that?
Oh no, I mean, yes, sure. So I came into the building where another person was going through an experience, and it was the biggest and most challenging experience apparently of the whole of retreat or whatever you want to call it. Um, so yes, I sat there in the hallway and just hearing these screams. You and I just had these waves of fear passing through my system of like, oh my God. Like because I'd done 5-MeO before and hearing the intensity of it really brought back those memories of what it's like. And that's where my ego realized, okay, you know what you're in for, you know what you're going. So I had to sit there for maybe half an hour and really be with that fear, which
Mhm.
was really challenging. But then I think it actually served me because I got to process that a little bit and get out of my system. So I'd gotten some of that out of the way when I took the hit. But taking the hit is always the challenging part. Is you just gotta sit up and you gotta do it, even if you don't want to do it. It's just one hit, and then just leave God up to the rest.
Yeah. That's so interesting that you got to witness and hear someone else's process that allowed you to go sit with all of your fear first. Like, what a beautiful gift. And like you having the ability to sit with your fear first so that by the time you went and take the medicine, just like a little more readily available for it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and I'm proud of myself for not standing up and running away.
It is nerve-wracking, like,
Yeah.
yeah, when it calls me, I'm just like, put it off a couple more days. And then, like, okay, let's do this. We got this. And then once I take that first hit, I'm like, we're fine. We're buddies. You've always got my back, but it's like that leading up to it, like,
Yeah.
oh,
It just is intimidating, and that's just a part of it. It's that powerful that it's. I don't think the ego is ever going to be fully comfortable with it, but that's just
Honestly,
how it
like
is.
there there are those who would say even just a hit of normal DMT, if you're not scared before that, and then you're
yeah.
probably just a little stupid.
I mean, I don't see how you can not be scared going in to take a hit of Bufo, small, medium, big, whatever, like you don't know where it's going to take you.
Hmm.
It's
But
natural, but it's soothing once it comes into my body. I'm like, oh, yeah.
I was gonna talk about that. Like do you feel like you've reached a state now where you're you can pretty much rely on not having a bad experience on Bufo? Like you feel that level of trust.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like more of like knowing how to navigate within it. It's easy to get lost in there, right? And I don't really do a lot of full doses anymore. Part of that is trust and having someone I trust to serve me. And I'm kind of at the state where I'll have a few friends serve me, but like, here's how you do the pipe. And I'm trying to like teach them. And like just recently I had a friend, I was like, the altar's set up. Do you want to come over? I'd served somebody that day and like we served each other. And I was like, I need a little more medicine. And he like dumped a big bunch into the pipe. And I'm like tripping, but looking at it. And I'm like, is this too much? Is this not too much? And I'm like, okay, I'll just take in what I can take in. Like, I know myself. So he's like lighting it, I'm taking it in. And like, I went all the way to the edge, but I didn't go unconscious. Like, I was still very in this space of like trying to orient to what I was asking for when I went in, which was like navigating actually through a lot of fear. And it was kind of like in the subliminal space and swimming all around. And like, yeah, I could have just gotten caught there and never found my way. And it was like my friend kind of came and like just a little something on my head, just a reminder of like, remember. And I was like, oh, yeah, I know what I'm doing here. And I like, I don't know if that was my ego or like my higher self, but I was like, I'm fucking choosing to trust and surrender in this space. And once I remembered that, I was able to like be at that edge where it was like starting to feel like I was swimming around and I was didn't know where to go. And I was like, oh yeah, I choose you. I'm choosing to open to the unknown here. Oof, okay. And I was able to navigate it differently. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that sums it up so beautifully. You know, it's all about when you start feeling like it's going to go in a bad direction on a psychedelic journey,
Hmm.
just accept the. It's a cliche to say it, I suppose. I realized that now that I was told this too when you know, in a time before I had tried psychedelics, and I was like, I never quite knew what anybody was talking about, honestly. But now that I've kind of been there a couple times, had the experience of having the fear come in on a journey, and then just giving it all over to the goddess and being like, okay, no, yes, just take care of it. It's all right. I won't interfere. Just give me whatever experience is coming my way. Um,
Mhm.
and that's the point where everything turns to gold and magic and you know, fairy dust. You're just having the best time all of a sudden. Um,
Yeah. I feel
yeah,
like that is what we're learning to do in our real life. That point of interception in the
yeah.
medicine, we're like head on with our fear. And it's like, is this door going to stay shut? Am I going to stay in this like perceived of illusion of a boulder being in my path? Or like, am I going to choose something different? And like, I do mostly like, yeah, I've been doing a lot of lower dose work with Bufo. And it's like just getting in there to see what the mind is looping about when you're in the space, because that gives you such a beautiful chance to observe your mind if you can be in that way in your body. And it was like looping, like, oh, I'm scared, I'm scared, I'm scared, I'm scared. And I was like, okay, I'm creating my reality. I'm literally using my I am to say I'm scared. Okay, like let's shift this in real time here. And I was like, what's just like a first shift here? It's like, I am open. I was like, okay, that actually changes everything energetically. Because instead of being in my contracted state and like creating that in my regular life, if I'm open, it's like things can start to flow again. And then like, that was able to like really like rewire like a neural pathway like in real time of like how I'm
Mm.
relating to life.
Yeah, absolutely. Because in the end, I guess it is all, not all, but you know, it is about the integration afterwards. You know, what you do with the experience and how you use it to make life a more pleasant experience, essentially, or a
Yeah.
more peaceful and tranquil experience, more inner peace. Um, and
Mhm.
yeah, maybe we talk about that. I don't know, but sometimes people do get lost in that and just continue taking the medicine for its own sake and just kind of want to get a crazier and a crazier journey to go on, you know, as opposed to actually taking the time in between journeys to really implement the lessons that are coming through. Um, Yeah, maybe that can just be a word of caution to the audience from here right now. Always make sure you're doing it with the intention of, actually having a better life afterwards.
Yeah, and I think this is where people get lost in work with medicine, and I did too. Um, you know, and integrating and really understanding how to embody these teachings from the medicine work that we're doing. Like this is like probably a little bit newer of the last couple of years. Like my earlier days working with Bufo, like nobody was offering an integration session. Like that word wasn't around. Like I would leave and be working with my own thing. So like a lot of that information got lost. And I would be like, it didn't get translated into life. And I feel like I've been a part of so many different medicine communities, ayahuasca, wachuma, where it's like ceremony after ceremony after ceremony, and like the same trauma dump, relational healing happening. And then you get plopped back in regular life and you purge it all out. And then you're just living in the same thing that you were living in before you went, but you got to maybe talk about it a little bit more, feel it on a different level. And um I'm like, why no one's actually like changing? I started like looking around, like what's actually going on here? Everyone's stuck in the same story they were when we sat in the last ayahuasca journey, or just dealing with the same problems over and over again. Like I didn't get it, and I was doing it too, right? I was holding space with Wachumo. I had my kids every other weekend, and on every other weekend I would hold space for Wachumo with my teacher, and then I would set my own medicine ceremony, and that was for like a while. So like where was my integration? It's happening years later when I finally stopped doing all the medicine. And then I got like annihilated with it all. It's like, oh, remember all those journeys? Now it's like all this information.
Yeah. Well,
But that's
well, I
like
want
how
to.
I found Martin. Because I'm like learning all this stuff on Bufo, and it's showing me all these frequencies and all this like beauty and love. And then I'm going back into my regular life, and like that is not how I feel. Like, what's going on here? How do we close this gap?
Yeah, he offers really good integration coaching,
Hmm.
and he's helped me
Hmm.
a lot with that stuff too. And I wanted to ask a little bit, actually related to him, because I believe he said at some point that if a Bufo session is conducted properly, a lot of the integration basically happens during the session. And this, I
Hmm.
actually felt this in my session, that compared to other psychedelic journeys, it didn't leave me with kind of trails of stuff afterwards to kind of process. I just felt renewed, and I'm like, yeah, here I am. I'm living life. It's, and I'm curious what your take is on that.
Hmm.
Because that's a unique take that I've not really heard before. That the integration can take place if the session is conducted properly during the session.
Yeah, I definitely understand what he means. And like, I want to celebrate that you got to have that experience, that you felt renewed for life. I feel like that's a gift, right? That's actually what everybody's wanting to come and have, and it's not super common. Um, there's something like in energetics, right, of serving this medicine. There, you feel that it's complete, or you know that it's not complete. Like it's an energy in the room when you
Mm.
start to serve it, and like
Martin talked about this as well, didn't he?
it's
Yeah.
all just a feeling. It's done or it's not done. You just know it. And
Yeah.
like we're trying to guide the person to get there, but it's like I think it depends on like how contracted and open their body is, for one, on like how much are they going to receive this medicine, how scared they are, like what are we really working with? Because a lot of the subconscious patterns just like instantly flare up. Like that's a lot what's happening. I will share, recently I've been working with this woman. She's a therapist. She also serves medicines, and she's been dealing with like some really deep abandonment, rejection, like stuff from childhood, like related to her mom, and had some traumatizing experience from working with five with another facilitator that brought up like all this feelings of not being safe that was already living inside of her. So she found me pretty like nervous system on overdrive, traumatized, and it was like, I really need a safe space to re-explore this relationship with Bufo. Like she was so scared. And like I literally like tiny minuscule amounts of medicine to like reintroduce them. And like working with her in these low doses and then integrating afterwards, and then working again, low doses, integrating afterwards, and like having this really slow, careful approach because of where she was at with her trauma, like gave us in real time opportunity to go into where the fear was, where she was feeling abandoned, where she was feeling rejected, like, because all those feelings were coming up from childhood experience. And we got to like go in and meet and hold, reprogram, love, care for that part of her in the moment. So she wasn't leaving having to do a ton of integration because did it in the session. Mm-hmm. I know not a lot of people are serving this way. This is like a newer exploration for me, and it's working really well. But when we did do our call, and I think this call was like 2-3 weeks after this session, she just was like, I feel so much safety in my body. I have more peace than I've ever had since that last session. And like a whole work idea downloaded through her because she had space to receive it. And like, that's exactly how it works, because the fear is blocking the channel. The old stuff is blocking our channels, our creative channels. Mm. So, yeah. I mean, I think we've all had that journey too, where it's just like so beautiful. You just walk out and like, yeah, life is great. And like, we're crying, looking at the flowers and the butterflies. And it kind of sounds like maybe that was like that remembrance, reconnection journey. And then it's like, yeah, we want to try to stay in that energy as long as we can, but the ego will still try to reform itself.
Yeah. And it will, I've not really heard any.
You don't want it to.
Yeah, but it does.
It just went ahead.
I have a very funny story about that actually, because when I did Bufo for the first time, I think it was in like 2020. I was practicing with a band, and we're playing the Star Wars Cantina song. We're practicing that song, and we were gonna play it live. And on the Bufo session, I went into full openness, and then when it was near the end, I heard that song slowly in the distance as my ego was reforming. Like, I'm coming back.
Oh, that's hilarious. I love that.
It's marching along.
Yeah, like, I'm coming back. You gotta deal with me.
I know. Boss is back.
Yeah.
Roll out the carpet.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I want to dive a little more into how you got introduced to Bufo and like how that shaped, because you've had a really big transformation in your life from your old life to your current life. And I want to know a little bit how Bufo got introduced and how that shaped the whole trajectory.
Yeah. I live what I call like the programmed life before, like the American programmed life. I don't know what it's like out there, where you get married to the wealthy, well-educated man, you have 2 children, you buy a house, you get a dog, you stop working, you pick up your husband's dry cleaning, you make all the dinners, like, yeah. So that was like the life I ended up in, and I had not had any type of spiritual awakening or anything. And I was so fucking miserable, like high as fuck, bong tokes all day, like hated going to the dry cleaners. I hated the responsibility that I had around the house. I ended up feeling really disconnected because I felt resentful for my husband. I wasn't listening to my intuition that was asking me to leave the marriage for many years, to the point that like my fingers literally would crack open and bleed. I'd sleep with Vaseline and gloves on at night. I went to dermatologist after dermatologist. Like, nobody could help me heal this like chronic infection that was happening. And I was struggling so bad. I remember we had just got back from Vegas. My parents had watched the kids. We had done a bunch of acid and went to some fish shows. This is like almost 9 years ago now. And I came home and I was like a wreck. I could not parent. I mean, obviously, like what I had just done, but I was like, made a doctor's appointment and like walked in, and I got on an antidepressant. It was like the lowest dose. And I was like, okay, for 1 year, I'm going to go on this medicine. So that year literally looked like I was high 24/7 on weed. And then I was taking my antidepressant, and like slowly, like life got number and number and number. And my older son went to kindergarten. I still had a 2-year-old. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's time to get off the antidepressant. And so I was like, okay. So just for a week, I cut it in half and then I just stopped. And I didn't know there was like a very, very tailored, drastic um, way to get off of an antidepressant. Like no one told me. I never called the doctor. I never heard from the doctor again. I mean, I literally just spent this year like fucking numbed out, you know? So I get off and like so many feelings and waves of emotions, everything I had just suppressed for that year and probably the other 35 years of my life were all just like rising to the surface. And I was crying all the time. I couldn't handle anything around me. Like you would drop a pin and I'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? Like my nervous system was so
Wow.
right.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Oy. I'm
Um,
so sorry to hear that.
it was so hard. And then the fucked up thing was like everybody around me was like, you need to go back on. Look what's happening. And I'm like, no,
Oh.
I have to get through this. Like something in me knew, like, I got to get through this. So I got off the weed, I got off caffeine. Like, I just like made bone broth. Like, I just like, I got to focus and get my body as clean and like help her figure herself out because she knows the way. And there was this pivotal moment where my husband had come home from work. I had locked my kids out of the house, 2 and 5 years old. I was like having a full nervous breakdown, crying. And he's like trying to get in the house. I'm like, you need to take me to a psych ward. I've now literally lost my mind. And he was like, whatever you need, you know, he's a great guy. He still is. And then I got into the bath and it was like in that bath, I had a rebirth moment. It was like the first time I had ever felt myself in this lifetime. And then a really loud voice came in and said, I want a divorce. And I was like, this is what I've been ignoring, pushing down, not wanting to face like all these years.
Yeah, that's a pivotal
Wow.
moment.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild. Thanks for sharing. That's a deep story.
Mm-hmm. It was like changed my whole life.
Incredible
So
release then. Yeah.
yeah, once I like got truthful with myself, um, I was able to navigate of like, okay, I actually really want to leave my marriage. I've known this for a long time. I've been stuffing it down and ignoring it. And like, right, that's our soul trying to take us in a new direction, right? That's our intuition saying, like, this actually life isn't right for you. I know it's safe and I know it's stable and I know you have everything that you need. And I know from the outside in it's perfect. But on the inside, it's not perfect at all. So this is kind of what I'm saying in that programmed life. It's like checking all the boxes of what I thought I was supposed to do to be happier, like what society told me to do or my parents told me to do. And it just was not, it didn't, the train didn't go all the way to the destination, you know, like fell off the tracks halfway there.
And
I
maybe you
mean,
felt like you were supposed to enjoy it because that's what society tells you that this is the right thing to do, and why am I not enjoying this if this is the right
Right.
path that
yeah,
everybody's
there
saying?
must be something wrong with me then if I don't
Yeah.
fit
Of
into this
course.
box here.
Right.
Darn.
Got to fit into this box.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just cereal anyway.
You're you're a cog in a machine here.
Right?
The
Yeah.
Matrix, yeah. Um, yeah. Domesticated or free, up to you. Um,
I mean, we think we're in the cage, but we're not all the time, right? Yeah. So
yeah.
just
Also on a
open it,
deeper
fly
level,
out. Yeah.
yeah. Just free yourself, dude. What are you
Be
doing? What
yourself.
are
I
you?
mean, it's just not that easy, right? Because then like all that
Yeah.
stuff comes up with, and I work with this a lot of women I'm coaching. Well, I don't want to break up my family. What if I don't meet someone again? I'm scared. What am I going to do for money? It's like, yeah, I had all of these same fears. Like I was part-time yoga teacher. I had no money of my own. I had nothing. And it took me like
Yeah.
4 months to talk him into the divorce. Um, yeah. And then once I like finally got to that place with him of like, okay, we can separate. It's not what I want. It's not the best thing for the kids. But like, you know, I was like, this marriage isn't making me happy. And this was probably one of the best things he ever said to me. It was like, it's not supposed to make you happy. Like you're supposed to make yourself happy. And I was like, I don't even know what that means right now. Like I have to figure out what that is.
Mm.
Um, so I went to this like week-long self-love meditation retreat. It was the first time I'd ever meditated. I like wrote my first poem. I did this beautiful art project on this retreat of making this gorgeous wreath from all the grounds at this place I was on the California coast. It's so beautiful. And I didn't know I was manifesting at the time, but I was like imagining like hanging this wreath on the front door when I got home. And like I had no clue I was going to move out. I live in the Bay Area. It's crazy expensive here. I didn't have any money. Like I had no clue how anything was going to move from this moment, but I was just like, okay. So I get home from this retreat. This is like at the now we're in like the beginning of January, and it was just kind of in a surrender place of like we're sleeping in separate rooms. I'm trying to move out and get to this new house. Like I don't even know how this house is coming to me or anything, and I had a realization because I was like held back by money, right? Like, I don't have the money. How can I do this? I don't know what to do. I have two kids. Like, what the fuck am I doing? Um, and then I realized I was like, oh, I have an IRA one day. Like, what if I use that now? I need it. And just that realization alone, like, moved so much energy that the house that was mine popped up finally on Craigslist that day. And I told them my story and I went and looked at it, and like they knew I didn't even have a job. And like they gave me the house like in that moment, even though like 100 people had applied for it. And so in that moment, I call my husband at the time. I'm like, oh my gosh, I found this perfect house for me and the boys. And he was like, great, here's $7,000 for the house. I just got it from my mom towards our divorce. Like, pay me back. It was like, so then found the house, the money came into the house. I move in. I put the wreath on the front door of the house, just like I had imagined making it. And I'm like, oh my God, like a whole new path is open. And then that wreath, like everything died on it, but the succulents, and it gave me an idea. And I started my own business that I ran for 4 years at that point called Wild Goddess Designs. And I created succulent wreaths and arrangements and like shipped them around the US. I worked with like local hotels and real estate agents, and like a whole skill set birthed through me that I didn't know I had, and an idea to be able to support myself and my kids, which ended up like being the backbone for all of my healing work. So that was like such a beautiful lesson of like when you follow your heart, you listen to your intuition and you walk into the unknown, it's almost like a safety net appears out of nowhere to like re-guide your life into a more authentic way. That like you don't know that's there. Like I had to choose that and move through the fear anyway. And it was like moving through that fear and walking out of that old life. I got like this download, and it was like your work in the world will be to teach women how to trust themselves. And I was like, I don't know what that means. Okay. And now I'm like, holy shit, I definitely know what that means. What a journey.
Well, yeah, you're teaching him to do what you did, essentially.
Exactly. It's like you just have to listen. It's scary. There's no roadmap. No one else lived any of our lives. So if we take out like what society is telling us to do, our parents, what other people are doing, and we like literally shut it all out and we only listen to our own being, we would just listen. If that was normal and we were raised that way, it wouldn't even be questionable. We would just do it. But since it's not like readily acceptable in society to just like be who
Yeah.
you are authentically, because it contradicts all of the rules and the frames of the society that we live in, it makes it a little more challenging to navigate this space of following ours,
It's
what
yeah,
we
it's
want
just
to
this
do.
it's just this collection of essentially, to a large extent, just psychotic behavior that is
Mhm.
considered the norm. And it's really quite astounding to me that people don't recognize this fact more than they do. You know what I mean? It's like it's kind of right there, guys. Like it's not. Like, come on.
I mean, once you see it, you can't unsee it. But
Yeah.
like, I know at least where I am, like, you know, I'm a needle in a haystack, right? Like, most people don't have these awarenesses yet about our life, and it still takes a while once you even do have the awareness to put it into real life lived practice.
It's the whole fish in water thing. Like it's everybody's doing it. This is the norm. This is
Mhm.
what we exist in.
Yeah, that's something I've been kind of struggling with ever since I was a very small child, ever since like my first memories. It's just been this feeling of like looking out at the world and being like, what is wrong with everything, and why? Like, why aren't we just truthful and kind to each other? Like, why is the world the way it is? You know, it's really like, and it doesn't seem to occur to everybody, and that is like, it's so fundamental to my character that it baffles me every time I think about it. Like, how could you not? Like, guys, come on, what's going on here? Let's try to raise the standard a little bit and have a good time and be honest and truthful with each other. And well, yeah, most importantly, kind, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, you said some really important things there. It's like, how do we get back to this space of relating with care, with love, and with kindness? And like ultimately, these expanded states of consciousness and psychedelics that we all have had the privilege and honor to get to work with has led us to getting to ask these questions and find out this information. And I've thought a lot about this too. And I ask God all these questions all the time, but it's like why are we like so much suffering, like what's going on? And it's just like it just keeps getting passed down and passed down, right? And like we keep shaping the next generation to the last generation, and like until we can stop that, I don't know how this ends, right? And I think too this could be like this point of relation where like you end up being the black sheep of a family, and it's like, who the fuck are you? No one understands you, you know. Like at least
Mm.
in my family, like you've changed. And it's like, well, yeah, because I don't, that's not my life anymore, you know?
Mhm. Yeah,
And
well,
it's like, I'm not here to talk those types of people into anything.
yeah, that's,
Yeah.
I'm still on that one. You see, I'm still.
No, but I think it's so
Like,
important, and I think this is partly why we do the podcast, is because I think there's a lot of people that probably everybody wants to live in authenticity, integrity with their
Mhm.
own self. But I think the problem is that not everybody has a good example to look at, and not everybody necessarily knows it's possible. So I think that's partly, why we want to highlight these voices of people that have been walking that path. So maybe
Yeah.
someone stumbles upon this and sees, oh, maybe I want to do the same thing.
well, and a lot of people are like less lucky than, at least like I'll just speak for myself here, less lucky than I was, with the kind of upbringing I got, and a lot of the world is really, really suffering and in poverty and just not even meeting,
Yeah,
uh,
basic
not,
needs.
yeah, and that's it's kind of hard
Yeah,
to think about meditating when you're starving, I suppose, when
yes, yeah.
you don't have enough to feed your family. Um, So I want to like show that full understanding as well, because I always feel like there's this like little risk when you're speaking of these things, like, oh man, why isn't all of the world just woke like I am, Like, why
Yeah.
can't everybody be on my level? Like, obviously it's because I've been very lucky. Um, so yeah, important to acknowledge that, and with gratitude as well. So a lot of people
Yeah.
that would change places with me in a heartbeat without a second thought.
Yeah. And I think too, it's just like our individual timelines of when we're supposed to find this information. And that's why, like, I trust of like just be myself, like, let's just be ourselves and like put our work out into the world, and those that are meant to it, like, find us.
Mm.
Mm.
Because it still is like a very small, like, yeah, like we meet people who are speaking our language, right? And like here we are connected from California to Iceland, and like how cool, because we're like speaking the same language. It's an interesting conversation for both of us, right? For all three of us. And like that doesn't like that's why I don't push this, and like I don't try to talk anyone into anything or like try to tell my parents what I'm doing. It's just like it's just fundamentally like you're speaking a language and I'm speaking a language, and like we don't know each other's language. So if you're curious, I'm happy to share. But like I'm not here to, I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
here to help people remember, and maybe something will light up, but like beyond that, that's it.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, somebody
Yeah.
said at some point, like, don't talk about this stuff unless somebody asks. And I'm inclined to take that perspective a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Uh,
no,
It's funny because it's like I have a client and it's like I'm like, you keep trying to get the same results by being seen from your relatives who don't speak this language. You're not going to get it. Like, and this was kind of like with my parents, like you don't go to the butcher for bread. You just have to like understand at a certain point, like where you can be met on these levels and who with,
Yeah. I read
and
something
just stop
interesting
trying.
I read something interesting in a book called The Presence Process, and it went something along the lines of the universe is going to test your desire for confirmation. Was that the word? I feel like I'm looking for a different word, but the universe will
Validation.
validation. The universe will test your
Mhm.
desire for validation from the outside by giving you people that are not going to understand.
Yeah,
Oh
I mean,
yeah,
that's a beautiful analogy for what's always happening.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like, sure, let me give you exactly what you need, what you're looking for, what you think you don't have. Like whatever it is, it just keeps perpetuating it.
get
yeah.
somebody in your life who isn't into unsolicited psychoanalyses from time to
Yeah.
time. For real.
But it's hard not to shout some of these things from the rooftops when especially first when you experience them, because
Totally.
it's so transformative that you want, of course, you want everybody to experience this, but then the maturity comes in later to understand not everybody is at that place, and it's not my place to impose that on other people. But I get the drive. I used to shout this from the rooftops, and
Yeah,
I freaked
wow.
a lot of people out doing it.
I'm still like
Yeah.
I'm still kind of like in a place where I definitely say it, I don't sit on it.
Yeah,
If something
that's
like
one
if I'm
approach.
at least like if I'm in conversation with somebody who says something contradictory to one of my beliefs, I'll be like, hey, I actually, I do think X, Y, Z. Um, because that to me is just true friendship, to let you know that I think that you're actually making a wrong decision for yourself right now. It's your decision, obviously. If you want to go and do it, you go and do it. More power to you. I value your freedom and independence more than anything. You know. But as your friend, I must tell you I think this is not going to end well for you. Like, you um, so I try to really sugarcoat it like that, and because people really aren't open to, like I said before, the unsolicited psychoanalyses. When you're like, okay, can you not see the pattern? Like, you did the exact same thing last time? Like what? And the time before that, and the time, like, come on.
Uh,
Oh my
yeah.
God. This is
Yeah.
not, you got to do something about this, yo. Like,
Hmm.
oh yeah, but like yeah, and sometimes you don't have the energy to take that fight, and in that circumstance, you shouldn't.
Yeah, and I think
Um,
it's like the willingness of the other party too, like you said, and like why it's important for like people like us to have creative teaching outlets so that people are in consent, right? Like your viewers are signing up to talk about consciousness, or like my
Mhm.
clients are consented to help me find their limiting beliefs and coach them. And then it comes to friendships and stuff. It's like once you're on this path, like you can just see stuff, right? You can see it, you can hear it, you can watch it, you can watch the dynamics that are going on and stuff. But then it's almost like a refrain from like, I'm not your teacher, we're friends here. Like let me
Mhm.
mm,
step out of this healer role and just be my normal self, which is almost impossible to separate because it's like it's not my job to like be the
mm,
mirror for everybody.
Mhm. Yeah, and I
yeah,
think there's a big difference when people are getting the impression that they're being talked down to. I think that's also a skill.
No one wants to be
Uh,
talked down to. Yeah.
yeah, like
yeah.
I know what the best thing to do is, and now you listen to me. That's a very different approach
I've
than.
done a bunch of 5-MeO. I know exactly how to navigate
Yeah,
it.
but let's get a little bit back into the story and how 5-MeO gets introduced, because
Yeah.
I'm very curious to hear about that.
Yeah. So once I landed like in my new space with my new work and kind of reset up a foundation for my life, I ended up in therapy. Like specifically at that point, I was in like anger management therapy because I was like yelling a lot and I had just like so much rage and like resentment inside of me. Um, and like shame and just like everything had never been processed. And like now I'm finally sober and I'm off weed, I'm off the thing, like everything is ready to be looked at. So I started got into therapy and then I asked somebody if they knew of a meditation place because I'd really enjoyed that week. I did the meditation and I had now kept up a meditation practice since that journey I went on. And she was like, I don't know where you can meditate, but I have a place you could do ayahuasca at. And I was like, huh. And I'd never done ayahuasca. I'd done a lot of psychedelics and like more in a party way. So I like sat with it and I was like,
No, I don't
I'm
have any lighters for you, but I do know where you can find some flamethrowers. That's
let me put on my glow sticks. Fun, but different. Yeah, so I went and sat at this ayahuasca for my first time intro into the ceremonial way of working with psychedelics. And I remember kind of looking around and I was like, I'm not like these people. And I like just separated myself instantly and judged everybody. And they're like white with their
Been there.
perfect little kid spaces for, and I had like no clue what was going on.
I've done that.
And everyone was tripping, and I got a crappy spot. I remember like getting squeezed in between two people, and there was just no room anywhere like the whole night. And like that's never good on IN. Everyone's having all these big processes. But yeah, I felt self-love for the first time. And I was very mild. And then I went back like 2 weeks later and sat 2 nights and started sitting with them more. And like I now was processing the stuff from my divorce, stuff was coming up from my childhood. Like finally things were starting to move. I was starting to feel. And then started sitting with ayahuasca. And then I ended up, I don't know, some like full moon healing. Like this whole world's new, right? I wasn't this person before I left my marriage. And like this whole new world is opening up for me. And I was like, someone at the yoga studio was like, I think you'd like these full moon journeys. And I was like, oh, I'll go check one out. So I meet this other woman. She starts like a year-long shamanic apprenticeship. And I was curious and I wanted to do it. And I wasn't sure. And I was just about to go to Peru, like with a friend who was someone I was dating at the time. We were going to see his family there. It wasn't medicine related. And she was like, well, you could sit with Wachuma San Pedro there. And I had never had. And she's like, you know what? Just go on this trip. You're going to know if you want to be in my apprenticeship. I'm not worried about it. Just go. Let me know when you're back. So I go and we ended up sitting with San Pedro and Cusco. And I had this incredible journey. And I was like, oh, this is mescaline. I've done this before. And it just was so beautiful. And I was like, I'm for sure doing this shamanic apprenticeship. I don't even know what the fuck it is, but it was just a big yes in my body. So I come back and I sign up for the year-long shamanic apprenticeship. And it was like it was called Pachacuta Mesa. It was like the Andean cosmology. It was very much in alignment with my trip to Peru and like what I had just experienced. And I get to this, it was like multiple retreats. And I kind of like look up at this like older woman and I was like, huh. And we kind of like vibed. And she was Wachumera. So I started sitting with her. And then she like brought me up as a medicine woman. Like she saw in me what I had never seen in myself and started like giving me tasks in ceremony, having me do more leadership positions. And like, we ended up becoming like best friends, sisters, soulmates, sisters, like everything, and worked together for 4 years and holding lots of ceremonies. And I was her right-hand girl, making all the medicine, singing songs. Like that taught me how to hold space. And like, it was so natural for me. And I ended up kind of like becoming someone in the community where women would just come for advice or to talk through stuff, and was serving hot bay at this time. And just like, I was just already doing all of that. And one day someone came to one of our ceremonies with a toad stuffy, and she was a Bufo facilitator. I was like, huh. And she was having like 2 weeks. And I was like, I think I'm going to do it. So I signed up, and she was like, yeah, I'd done a bunch of medicine, but I'd never done that medicine. So it doesn't matter because you guys know, well, it's a completely different frequency. So she
allegedly, yeah.
she gave me a little microdose, and then I remember on the microdose, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't think I can do this. This is crazy. Like, I don't know. My heart was like, I don't know. Are we really going to go further than this microdose? Like, and I was always the girl of like, yeah, give me more medicine. Like, I can do more. And like this medicine, like stopped me in my tracks. I did go through with the full dose that day. And that was my first time being with the medicine. And then I left with like a little something and I put in my pocket. And it was like, I just knew I was going to serve the medicine. And I put it in my pocket and I just left it there because I also knew I was not ready to serve the medicine. I don't even know what that means right now. I just felt it in my body. And then I just continued on my healing journey and kind of kept it as like a little secret between me and Bufo for a while.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And do you feel like it's almost easier? I mean, I'd say this would be my experience that it's almost easier to take a bigger dose because it's harder for the ego to resist. There's almost it's not easy, but it's more effortless. It's like getting hit with this tsunami where you can't even fight it. Like you can try, but you're gonna lose the fight. So why even why even bother? Um,
Right.
I'm curious what you think about that. If that was in line with
Yeah.
what you
I
experienced.
mean, I do believe, and I've seen it and witnessed it many a times where, because I generally will always start with the smaller dose for someone, the medicine to me. And like, I just want to observe and watch what happens and feel what happens before I'm going to give them any more medicine. And sometimes they'll freak out and
Hmm.
they're like, oh, yeah, I'm not going further. Like, okay, here we go. You know, just be patient. You know, they're going to come around. I got to remind them why they're here, what their intentions are. So I do think, yes, it can be more challenging sometimes on a smaller dose because the ego wants is like, what the fuck? This is crazy. You think I'm going to take more? There's no way, like all the fear and control. Um, and that bigger dose can just kind of help push you through that area. Um, but I think they both have of like everything, their plus and their minus side. But yeah, if someone's super constricting, controlling, sometimes like a micro is not going to do anything for that person.
Yeah. No, it's just interesting to because there's so many ways to go about it. But I remember
Mhm.
hearing Martin on this podcast talk about his approach, which is very much we're going in and we're just going for
He
it. All
goes
right,
all the
baby.
way. Mhm.
We're not tiptoeing around the bush. It's just like
Totally.
you're coming here to do the work. We're gonna do the work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's something, I don't know if this is shifting like across the board or if it's just kind of in my own world of the way that the medicine's being served shifting,
Mm,
where we're starting to see the nervous system and the human can actually adapt and integrate and embody what's going shown to them through smaller doses much more effectively than the larger doses.
mm. Very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. It's still so new. I mean, we're just learning.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. We're creating the framework, I guess, and maybe it's
Isn't that
different.
cool?
Yeah. It's this is the
Heck yeah.
frontier, I guess, of psychedelic work currently.
It's cool. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fun. It is. It's like, or it is the frontier. We don't even know yet.
Hmm. Right.
Mhm.
And what role did the bilateral symmetry part of the
Mm.
equation play in your journey? Because for me, this was a revelation of like why is this not uh something that everybody knows about? This is so powerful. And after my last sessions with Bufo, I did some actually I did some sessions with ketamine shortly after, and I just went almost straight back into the Bufo thing, but it only happened because I set myself up in Symmetry, and that's how I was able to just access the Bufo state again through
With
even lower doses.
ketamine.
Yes, I mean it was its
What?
own thing, but yes, I didn't go as deep as I did on Bufo, but I very much still tapped into the same energy. But it happened through the pathway of the bilateral symmetry, which is just this openness of the body, where the body just lines up effortlessly in symmetry and goes through these energetic movements. Um, and I'm curious to hear about how what role
In,
that played for you.
in y-axis symmetry, for those who don't know, I believe.
Do you want to share about that or do you want me to answer that?
No, I'd love to hear what
Yeah.
role it played for you.
Well, to answer the why, the bilateral symmetry is like it's energetics. So, it's like the universe moving in like a certain harmonious rhythm versus the ego being online and like digging and contemplating like what it's thinking through a one-sided movement. Yeah, so it's like when we're crossed and the energy is restricted, or we're like, and like we're doing all these like ego things, it's like when we tap back into that kind of like subliminal space where the energy is flowing, it just becomes really natural to move that way. I don't know, it's open, it has space to go places. And like when someone's deep in their Bufo journey, often they're doing this type of bilateral symmetry naturally. And like I got that reflected and mirrored back to me so many times, but like nobody knew what that meant. I didn't know any of that till I met Martin. It just like moves like as perfect symmetry, right? And you can look at it this as like God, me, life outside, inside, everything. There's no separation. It's going to do exactly what I do. Like I also like to bring that analogy into it. Um, but yeah, naturally, when we go into that deep space, that space of love, God, non-duality, the body will naturally go straight into those movements when the person's unconscious in their journey. And you, like as someone serving, you can watch, you can see what's happening. And then like the flip side is like, they're back. They just go back and take these little movements on one side, or like one eye will twitch and like, oh, they're back in the room. You can see it in the
The Cantina song
yeah.
comes in slowly.
That's such a good meme.
Yeah, it's helpful for integration though. It's like I found Martin, after maybe 2 years after that first Bufo experience, I ended up in Mexico with my teacher, and he taught really different, I think, than a lot of trainings that I see now and ways people are teaching. It was very much like we need to clear your channel so your consciousness is clean so you can hold a clear space for somebody. So what are we working with in you that we need to help shift? That was his approach. It wasn't like, here's the lighter, here's the pipe, like here's all the dosing. It was nothing like that. It was like, here's a Course in Miracles. This is your book for this time that you're here with me for 3 weeks. I need you to be reading it and understanding what your ego is, what your perspective is doing, what your beliefs about God and the universe are. And like, it was, yeah, this was what it was. And like the first Bufo journey I went into with him, I remember like seeing it just like cobwebs and strings and like wound up, like almost just like stuck, like, yeah, just confined in this web. And I opened my eyes and he looked at me, he's like, and I was like, oh, I know, like, damn, that's a lot. and he's like, you have to take responsibility for all that. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, maybe someone told you that or you picked it up somewhere, but like literally it's living in your psyche and body now. And I was like, whoa, okay. So it's like all these little moments ended up becoming pillars of my framework of like, oh, we have to take responsibility for that. Well, then what comes first? How did that get here? Yeah, so he trained me in a way of like this deep way of trust with the medicine and with myself and with God. And like for me to get to that place, it was like a deeper understanding of like God was not outside of me. I was God, God was me. And like every time I did the medicine there, it rained only on me. And like he came up one day and he's like, and this is in my song that I wrote. He was like, it's raining every time you go into your journeys. Like God is crying. And I'm like really just getting on board with this God lingo,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm reading Course in Miracles, like microdosing on mushrooms. And I'm like, I fucking get why God's crying. And I'm like running to my teacher. And I'm like, I know why God's crying. Because I don't love myself. And he's like, well, if you don't love yourself, you don't love God. So like the way he was really vetting us to see if we were ready to serve was just by listening to the way that we talked. Did we understand what the teachings of the medicine truly were?
Mm.
Right? Does that make sense to you? Because it's
Yeah.
like when someone goes to speak, you can hear their blocks, you can hear where they're stuck, like you can see it all. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. That's actually a point that I've that I've thought about quite a lot, because I'm never quite sure how much, like I was saying before, people don't want the unsolicited psychoanalyses, It's like, when do I bring it up that, is that language that you want to be saying that about yourself, being like,
Yeah.
oh no, I don't have any time or something, or instead of just being like, I choose not to do this, um, that type of thing. I'm assuming you're talking about this type of stuff. Like, I mean, that was a very kind of small example of it, small scale example of language being kind of used against oneself in a habitual way.
Right. And it's like if we're talking, we want, like, I want reflections, right? Like I
Yeah,
want someone to help me
me
find myself.
too, yo.
So I'm really open. So in that way, my teacher and I had an incredibly beautiful relationship because he was such a bright mirror. He didn't sugarcoat. It was straight to the point. It was hard to handle sometimes, but then other people couldn't handle that and they would leave. They hated it
Yeah,
because it was a big mirror. But I feel like with my friends in that way, I'm just like, are you open to a reflection?
yeah,
Yeah.
I just
yeah,
asked that. And then it's like, you consented, and it's like, well, here's what I see. Yeah. And let's talk about it if you want, or if we want to.
yeah,
Yeah.
and not just slapping him in the face with it right away. It's like, here you go.
Dumping
Let-
cold water in people's
Yeah.
faces.
You might get met with a slap of their ego back.
Oh yes, yeah,
Yeah.
most likely, yeah, yeah. I guess I mean, you're right, and that's some great advice for sure. Something I could definitely, yeah, think about doing more. Being a little more gentle with that stuff, because it brings up so much anger in me. Still, I'm still it's like the hurt child from just being like, what the heck is wrong with the world? Why is this place like this? And that kid gets this feeling like, I gotta do something about it. We gotta change. Like, why? And everybody could be doing something about it, just some of us aren't, and that makes that kid really frustrated. I'm like, what? Represent, guys. Come on, let's try to. Let's try to make the world a better place together. We can't, I can't, nobody can do it alone. We have to be all in it together as one. And some people are just choosing not to play ball. And it's like, what? What? So that's where it comes from for me, at least. And I fully recognize at the same time that it's something I have to work through, obviously, because more frustration in the world is not helping anybody either, Um, yeah.
Yeah. Can I offer a reflection?
Yes. I would love that.
Yeah, it's so sweet. Your inner child, like being like, wait, you guys, like there's another way. I just want to share it. What is everybody doing? And like, you're already doing that. Like, you have this podcast, you're talking about this work, like you're already doing what your inner child wants you to do. So I think soothing your inner child and talking to him and telling him the work that you're doing and the impact that you're making and that other people are listening and the message is spreading. And the more you do your podcast, the more you talk about this, the more people come who are aligned with you. And like one by one is really truly how we all grow and change. But nothing can happen until it has like internally shifted first.
That was a great
Yeah.
reflection.
Oh, wow. Thank you. I definitely wasn't sure what to expect. That left me feeling like, wow, I wasn't expecting I almost feel, wow, it's humbling. Thank you. And I guess, yeah. Look on the bright side. We're getting there.
We're getting there. And it's like, we can only move at the pace that our nervous systems can move for our own individual healing work and on the bigger level. But it starts first always with us, and it's like we have that little restless part of ourselves that's like, no, I want to get there faster. Why isn't it happening now? And it's like, oh, I hear you. I feel you, sweetie. Like we're actually right in the perfect place.
Mhm.
And as they through that relaxing, then the universe can do more work. We're not like, gotta do it all,
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's ego.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
The
It's
most
so confusing.
it's the most dangerous kind, I suppose, as well, yeah. It's like it's the ego that thinks it is not the ego. It's
I know.
so proud
Isn't
of
it?
not being the ego. We're so
I
good.
know.
We're so good at this, not being ego.
The ego is so smart. I know I was like hired a coach recently. I'm like, my ego is so smart. I can't see my stuff. Like, you have to help me. I
Yeah.
can like find my way through so many things. And then I'm like, wait, I'm just tricking myself.
Yeah. Oh God, that's a great reflection right there. I mean, I know you didn't mean it as a reflection, but that might be something to look at. Yeah, because I do find myself like justifying stuff to myself. Certainly, yeah. That's
Well, I have one actually kind of funny question about that regarding the ego and the ego being smart. Something I experienced in my journey at some point was I was working with a lot of psychedelics. And what seemed to happen with my ego is almost something similar as to when you're working in the gym and you're tearing down the muscle and then it reforms stronger. And this seemed to be happening with my ego, that my ego would get better and better at outsmarting that deeper part of myself and getting the upper hand. And that game kept going to a deeper and deeper level until the ego became just much, much harder to work with because it got so sneaky and deceptive and intelligent and there were these games happening on a very high level of like, okay, are you able to solve this puzzle? Bam. Okay, you could. Okay, what about this one?
highly, highly developed and sophisticated algorithm you got there.
Basically, that's kind of how it
Yeah.
felt. I'm curious if that lines up with your experience in any way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting here kind of listening to this and like observing this conversation of like, what's the antidote, having these super smart minds and egos that like can bring up 100 perceived delusions and blocks to trap us left, right, and sideways so we don't actually like get where we're trying to go.
I've never heard it said like that.
That's my personal experience recently. It's been quite a performance.
Wow.
And then when I caught it, I was like, oh my gosh, damn, you're good. Like you kept me paralyzed here for a while, thinking this was really happening in my life. Um,
Oh wow.
you got to be present. That's the antidote, right? Because technically the ego can only think really from the past. So the ideas are just ping-ponging around the mind, waiting to be interacted and engaged with. So the thoughts can just be existing like as a noun in our mind. And then when we actually engage, or the ego chooses to engage in the thoughts, like now we're actually doing something. Now we're actually creating from the thought. And then we're creating that into our reality. So it's like coming back to presence and then also not actually getting caught up emotionally in what the mind is doing to us.
Mm.
Like, yeah, I'm going to tell another story. I'm not
Right.
playing that game. I'm not
Yeah.
carrying that reality anymore. That's not working for me. But you have to kind of get to that point
Yeah.
Right.
of
You
seeing what that like pattern is that keeps coming up. Like for me, it's like so much fucking fear. And even like leaving Mexico the second time with my teacher, and he was like driving me in the airport, and he'd be like, he just could feel it. He's like, there you go. You're going back. Like you're literally going back home, but you're going back into your old patterns in this moment in this car. It's like your ego is going to try to reform. And that's why there's like that potent 30-day window at the tail end of our psychedelic experiences, especially with Bufo and five, where the neural pathways are primed for new belief systems to be input into them. And if one can actually use this 30-day window, this 2-week window, this time period afterwards, after their ceremony, after your journey, and stick fucking consistent with it, which is like, can be challenging sometimes for me, you can really transform.
Mm-hmm.
You can
Yeah,
really change that dominant belief to something else.
I heard a
Wow.
really good analogy for this. It's like almost as if you clear your desktop and you have a new desktop on your computer and you can put new stuff in there. But then there's this folder in the corner. It's all your old stuff. And you have a choice to actually click on that folder or you can create a new folder.
It's such a good analogy. It's
Yeah,
exactly how it works. It's like a little computer in our brain.
yeah.
You did?
Well,
Would
it's like,
you?
I got abandoned. Remember when they didn't show up? Remember when that happened? And it's like, no, I don't want to create any of that anymore.
Do you mean that specifically for Bufo?
The
The
integration for the neural
yeah,
pathways,
yeah.
it's all psychedelics.
Oh yeah,
I
right.
don't know the time period per se for each, but it's for sure all because of the way that they interact with the mind. Like that's the point of the psychedelic, right? It's going in to like essentially fuse open a new path.
Mhm. Yeah.
As
In
we
a
expand our consciousness, something has to like be formed structurally within that, I guess you could
Yeah,
say.
absolutely. I thought like my impression thus far was just that the mind was all scrambled or quote unquote scrambled, sending all these signals just in through neural pathways that it wouldn't normally. It's kind of mixing and matching new parts of the brain, and that's why you're having all these weird experiences that you can't have otherwise. Or maybe you can. I actually won't be the judge of that. Um, but I was under the impression that was only the case, that you were only in that state while you were actually on the journey, and I didn't. That's news to me about the integration window afterwards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's called neuroplasticity. If you wanted to like dive deeper into any research
Yeah,
of it.
yeah. I mean, yeah, I read Atomic Habits as well. It's where I ran
Oh,
into that term for the first time. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, I mean, you can influence that without psychedelics as well, right? It doesn't mention
Yeah, I
psychedelics
mean,
in that book, at least.
people reprogram their minds all the time.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think,
But
I don't know. I don't know if like, yeah, I think a new pathway would form for a new belief system to form. But I wonder if the psychedelics just like literally births that path
yeah,
open.
probably
Yeah.
makes it easier. Yeah, I could buy that. Yeah, it's like
Yeah, because if you think about the mind and why we're doing psychedelics, it literally is to push and allow ourselves to move past our current state of consciousness.
yeah,
So then
Yeah.
you imagine something physiologically might have to change to see a different way you've never seen ever.
hmm
Mhm.
yeah, yeah, certainly. So physical expression of God to represent the new the new state of being. Hmm. Yeah, totally. I mean, it's what that would be the scientific point of view as well. That the consciousness operates the way it does because of how the brain is firing molecules. Um, and not the other
Yeah,
way
it's really,
around. Yeah. And I like
yeah.
that's another open question to me, honestly. I would love to actually hear your view on that, Sarah. What do you think? Do you see the world as being birthed into existence by consciousness, or as consciousness slash God slash source being the kind of base layer or the foundation of reality? Or do you think that it would all exist whether or not there were consciousness to experience it, all these planets and galaxies, etc.?
Hmm. I mean, this is such a big question. Um, I don't think like consciousness can experience itself without us. Like, I don't know, almost like what would the point be in a
Yeah,
way?
yeah, that's my
Like,
thought too.
who's having the experience?
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah,
If
like
there
If
the
was some.
bottom line for me is basically like there's if there's nobody to experience it, doesn't matter if there is reality or not. You know, it's
And is it even
that
happening? That's such an
question becomes
interesting way to look
irrelevant, you know?
at it.
Yeah.
I just like really, I think the more I mean, the more I understand, the more I actually don't know shit. But like, what I think I know
Yeah, there you go.
is like we're consciousness. Consciousness is everything, everywhere. It can't move without us. And like me leaving my marriage is a perfect example, right? Like how I had to make the decisions and I had to move first for the universe to reorient to me a new reality, right? It couldn't do that unless I did something, right? Like I always look at it as like it's vibing off of us, but we're ultimately co-creating together because the universe can't do anything without us and we can't do anything without it as far as creating on a human level. We're vibrating in perfect harmony and synchronity with each other, aware of that or not aware of that. So I feel like this is the real pivotal piece of why are we working with psychedelics? Why are we talking about consciousness? Why am I serving Bufo? Like, why are we doing any of this work that we're doing? And this is like that little piece in there. It's like to understand that we actually truly are shaping our reality and to stop shaping it from the ping-ponging thoughts and the trauma from the past and truly step into being a fucking creator. That's why we're doing it.
Yeah.
And it's not like a snap and so easy.
Yeah, I like what you say there. It's a co-creative process because you hear a lot of talk in spiritual circles of like you are the creator of your universe, and I would agree with more or less with that. But I like the emphasis on the co-creation, that it's you're an active participant in a process that's more than you. And I think a lot of suffering that people feel is God knocking on people's door, screaming at them to do something. And the less you listen, the louder the pain gets, until it becomes so unbearable for people that they are almost pushed into taking a step into the unknown, into a different direction. And I've definitely felt that in my life. You know, you need to change something about this, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, you know, tomorrow maybe. And it just
Yeah.
gets the volume gets turned up more and more until it's like, okay, you have to change something about this. Mhm.
Yeah, I'm definitely experiencing that in this moment in my life. I've experienced that many times. I really like the way you put it though, of like for not listening, the suffering increasing, and God's just like it's like our soul, like we're going a different way. I need you over here. I need you to do this. I need you to do that. And we're like, oh, I'm so scared. And I feel like a lot of my reprogramming has been like trying to or reprogramming the unknown into something that's not scary. Because the unknown's unknown no matter what. We don't know. And like, okay, can I just get there? I don't know. I don't know the answer. Okay, well, if I don't know what would I want to happen? It's my ideal situation. What does that feel like? Well, the universe is providing for me. The universe is supporting me. It is what I am. Like, so it's like really talking myself into that space so the body can relax, the nervous system can relax, and like my creations can fully take off versus getting kind of stuck sometimes
Mhm. Yeah,
by
and
going.
it seems that God can't really just take control of your body and move you towards doing the right thing, because then you wouldn't
I
be doing the
know.
right thing. Like it's sometimes
And
you
we
wish
have
it could be
no
that easy.
autonomy. No
Yeah.
autonomy, no sovereignty, no freedom, but like
Yeah.
my prayer is definitely God's will for my life.
Hmm.
Fuck it. And I've been like there many times of like, all right, whatever needs to be done, I'm willing to go through the discomfort to get me from here to where I need to be. Like strip me of these limiting beliefs, show me what I need to see. And then it's like, oh yeah, everything's hitting the fan. I'm in a really hard place. Oh man, this sucks. It's like, okay, I'm in the prayer. I'm still in peace. I'm not freaking out. I'm still going to be okay. Everything's about to shift. Everything's about to shift. Everything's about to shift versus, fuck, I'm stuck here. I'm so frustrated. Why this again? Man, I'm a failure. I can't. And just like, which road are we taking?
Hmm.
Like the direction we're going, who we really are. It's like this constant with the mind, right? Of rewiring and not allowing it to anchor us into a timeline we don't want to be in anymore.
Interesting. Yeah. everything's about to shift, you said. That's kind of like, do you manifest it consciously like that, or do you prefer kind of leaning into the acceptance of the way things are right now as a tool for, transmuting the energy?
Yeah, I think it's both. And you can't get to step two without step one, which is accepting the way that things are right now. Because otherwise we're resisting it, right? And that's where, like, I know for me, I'll get really frustrated. I'll get like angry. My energy starts to get stuck. So like we have to learn how to like fully sit and feel all of our feelings on this path as a non-negotiable, as a way of living, as a way of being, not outsourcing it to all of our friends. And no, it's our responsibility. It's our body, it's our system, it's our mind, it's our heart. What's going on inside of me? Oh, my inner child's feeling this. Okay, let's be with her. Let's feel it. Let's cry it out. Like, let's experience how annoyed you are for the scenario, how frustrated you are. What are your beliefs around it? And it's like, once you can get there and like make that part of yourself feel seen and witnessed, it's like, okay, there we go. We got a baseline to move from. And it's like the feelings got moved, they got felt. We see the limiting beliefs, we see the identity that this like situation's actually being created from. And like once I can go in and do that inner work, then I can be like, oh, remember who the fuck you are. You're a masterful, like
Yeah.
you're a woman of God. You're creating your reality. Like, oh my God, you see what we were creating? Thank God I just sat with you. And like, this is how I'll talk to myself. All right, let's realign here, and then let's move in this other way.
Yeah, yeah. And really feel into it as well, you were saying, yeah. Like really allow yourself to feel all the feelings. I think the
Yeah.
one thing that's been really useful to me lately has been DMT activation breath work. I've been doing that a lot. Like these kind of 20 to 40-minute sessions where you really go deep. And I've been combining it with marijuana as well, smoking up and then going into that, and that can be quite the, at least like I wouldn't say it's not a visually psychedelic experience, but it's very somatically intense. It's very,
Very energetic.
yeah, yeah. I don't know, maybe you've probably tried it actually. I don't know.
I feel like I've been hearing a lot about it. And like we did a lot of breath work with our medicine work and my journeys in Mexico. But yeah, if you'd love to, I'd love if you'd send me
Yeah,
something. I would like to try it.
definitely. Yeah, I could do that for sure.
Cool.
It's been incredibly helpful for me because of what you were saying, it helps me come into a closer contact with my or more intimate contact with what I'm actually feeling. And it kind of feels like, I think of it as taking like a week of emotional flux and just cramming it into an hour, and you just go through all the, it's like a roller coaster, and then you're out. And it always like, I did this event, right, that I was very nervous about in Iceland. It was like a songwriting workshop and a concert in the evening over Easter last April. And I was like, had all these. I mean, basically, long story short, I was worried it wasn't going to work out. It wasn't going to sit well with an Icelandic audience to be doing this sort of event. I was like, am I going to have to, hold space for all this energy? And I've promised all these people that I'm going to do this, and I can't back out now. And what if it all goes horribly wrong? And I'm responsible for a lot here. And when I started freaking out like that, and then it went really well. I just want to share that first, and that was an amazing experience, obviously. After all the going through all those doubts, but I remember every time I had that fear hit, like it did very regularly in the couple weeks leading up to the event, I would just go in for a 40-minute session of breath work, and I'd come out the other side like, oh yeah, I actually got this. It's actually fine. I forgot. If anybody can do this, actually, I don't like, it's me. Like, what are you talking about?
It's me.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Like that belief in self clicked back in, the fear moved to the side.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. It's so important for us to know what practices we need, like what are our tools in our tool belt to help us shift these states, these human states we get into.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of those kind of negative beliefs, it's hard for them to survive in this kind of an environment, this kind of energetic environment. When you put a lot of energy into the body, like with breathwork, you kind of charge up. It's harder for those belief systems to survive. And also with meditation, I often feel like I'm kind of suffocating all those negative beliefs because they can't survive when you're just present. Like they try to run in all directions, and ultimately it's almost like they just
Kind of
drown.
slurp up the last ounces of consciousness from the bottom of the barrel, like, come on,
Yeah,
yeah, no,
yeah. They're
no.
trying to distract you, and they're like, "Hey, look over here! No, no,
No,
I'm gonna die."
give me your
You're
energy,
so
please.
shadowy and squirmy. Yeah. I mean, we're all talking about like the same thing, and it's a beautiful like devotion to this path and to self of like, no, I'm gonna keep sitting down and showing up to myself and developing the capacity to navigate these spaces inside of myself. And like if you can learn to do that off psychedelics, imagine and this how much easier going into psychedelic journeys is. If you
Well,
sit with your fear on a regular basis and cry your eyes out and like let all the feelings move through, you're already doing it.
Hmm.
I so thought you were gonna take that in the direction of like, if you're already doing that without psychedelics, then maybe that's all you need, you know? Maybe it's oh no, you went full on the sales pitch. He was like,
And maybe
yeah,
it is. Not everybody needs psychedelics,
yeah,
but yeah, it's
Yeah,
helpful.
they
Yeah.
go
yeah,
hand in hand. Yeah.
totally. No, I understand. I think we're in complete understanding about all this.
Hmm.
Just kind of messing around. It's for the
Yeah.
show. It's for the bit.
It's like, yeah, because the mind wants to hide and it wants to be all sneaky. And it's like just sitting down in the act of meditation, like you said, it's like, haha, spotlight's on, I got you. Right. And it's like, oh, I see you. Oh, we're not playing that game. And it's like, my clients will be like, I can't meditate. I hate meditating. And I'm like, that's why you got to keep doing it. You get
Yeah.
like the real opportunity to observe your crazy ass mind for 5 minutes straight until you can finally settle, even for 30 seconds in this 15 minutes that I'm asking you to sit and meditate for,
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
And
But
something
even
I
that
will.
10 seconds of peace is worth every second of that
yeah.
15 minutes.
Amen.
Something
Yeah.
I'll say about this, from my experience in meditation, is that that stuff gets easier over time. Like for me, when I started to really get into it, sometimes I would really suffer for half an hour to an hour, really bad. But I had the trust that if I got past that point, that things would get easier, and they really did. The mind does calm down, the nervous system does calm down, and usually the most painful parts when you're getting into it are in the beginning, when everything is still settling down. So, you know, this, this could be useful information for somebody who's getting into this, that if it's uncomfortable, it probably will get easier the more you do it. I have full confidence that that's how it works for most
Yeah.
people.
And it is uncomfortable. No one's like, I love my meditation practice when they first start. It's like, oh my God, I'm uncomfortable. My mind is crazy. But I like always go back to the gym analogy of like, if you want to develop bicep muscles, you're going to go learn how to do the freaking weights and like do your planks. And like, it's going to be a consistent practice. And then you're going to start seeing results. And then you're going to be happy. And then you're going to stick with it. And it's like this very human thing.
Hmm.
And this is like a point I worked with a lot. And there's been some of the things I've had to overcome. It's like, can we put the work in before we see the result? Right? Without quitting first, without getting
Hmm.
frustrated, without it not being here. And like just know like that little bit every day is like forming like a snowball that's going to be so big and like have so many beautiful effects on our life. So
Hmm.
no matter, this is why changing ourselves can be hard, is because it's uncomfortable. So yeah, meditation is going to be uncomfortable. Going to the gym is going to be uncomfortable. Doing inner work, inner child work, whatever it is, it's all going to be uncomfortable at first.
Yeah, and it
Learning, we're
gets easier.
learning. It's like
Get
grace and learning, and like there's no
Yeah.
shame about this human experience and like all these emotions that we're all working through. Like this is just what it is. And I feel like the more we can talk about it, and this was like a lot of what I wanted the church to be, is like It's a safe space to explore why you feel unworthy, why you don't feel safe in your body, why you feel like everyone's going to abandon you. Like, it's a safe place to talk about your way you feel versus allowing it to remain as a shadow, staying in shame and embarrassment for having the feelings, and then kind of like retreating even like from social situations because you don't want anyone to know how you're feeling versus like, let's just be honest, like we're all working through these things and like learning, and then we can share it with each other, and then we can like
Yeah.
meet up place and remind each other like, yeah, I feel like that, but that's not who you are.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's why, like, that spells out why I'm gonna say it for the fourth time now. Um, don't don't understand how somebody could have something against these unsolicited psychoanalyses. Or I understand why. I understand why, but I have a hard time grasping it. Because I would take it with such like I want that authenticity that you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want you to tell me if you see something in me that I could be doing better, and I respect you, so I'm going to do the same for you. And I feel like that's really the core, that's spirituality at its best for me. It's just authenticity, when it really comes down to it. You just got to be open and honest, just got to
Yeah.
even when it's scary. There's so many times when it's scary to tell the truth and to really show up authentically as who you actually are in that moment with everything that you've got in you in that moment. And so I've talked about this a little bit on the podcast before, but this year I really went and discovered hippie festivals for myself. And just these gatherings of a couple hundred people that are all on a similar frequency when it comes to this kind of thing, and everybody's showing up with this authenticity, and it's kid friendly, it's drug free, and people bring their children, some single parents, some whole families, and kids are running around the space playing. It's just the most beautiful experience, and the kids, I notice, bring in a lot of the authenticity, because they really help hold down that frequency of just like showing up in the world just exactly the way you are right now, and unapologetically being like, no, or yes, or yeah, what's that? Like, come on. Oh my God, have you seen that thing? Um, yeah. And it really does something to a human to be in a space like that of a couple hundred people for multiple days running. And I realize obviously a lot of people do it for a lot longer than that, but that was the experience I had. Just like, wow, just downloading this frequency and really being able to bring it with me into the real world afterwards. Like I was just literally just, you see me standing in a line anywhere, I'd be dancing. I didn't give a shit. I didn't like, I was just having a good time. I took my harmonica with me everywhere I went, just like busted a tune every once in a while. Just like hope we don't get copyrighted for that one. Yeah, and then the funny thing is, I'm I'm starting to recognize the counter wave coming in now, because I've been in that mode for about a month and a half now, and I went to those festivals about that long ago as well, and it's kind of sad, seeing it fade away. You're feeling like all of a sudden I got these insecurities coming back that I haven't been experiencing for a month and a half, say. Um, and it's like, yeah, 2 steps forward, 1 step back is the feeling, It's like,
I know that one.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what you just shared brings up like a question that I've been working with. And my friend and I ask each other this question a lot. He does this deeper inner dive consciousness work too. Um, of like, what's the new way of relating?
Mm.
What kind of friendships do we really want? What are our relationships with like depth, care, capacity, curiosity? What are these like? Right? Because I feel like we're shifting this paradigm, this way of being from relating from our past and from our trauma. And like this is like seen in some of those older psychedelic spaces that I was telling you about. And it just like keeps perpetuating in itself. It's like, well, when we're not talking about what's wrong, when we're not talking about the past, what are we talking about? And it's like, okay, this fresh moment hasn't been created yet, right? So what do we want to do with it? And I feel like this is where like more creativity and expression and like, well, let's write, let's play, let's make a podcast, like let's do something fun with it versus like using it to like keep going over what already happened in the past. So like this new idea of like how do we relate to each other on this space when we're not like coming to each other to close the loop that we're in, or we're not looking for necessarily someone to help us regulate our nervous system, and like we've like become sovereign within this way of ourselves. We want to be met back from someone who's already in that place, right? Where reflections are a natural part of the relationship,
Right.
you know, where they're just like, of course I want your reflection,
Right,
you know?
yeah. You might even get to the point where you don't even ask first. You just
It's just natural. It's just normal. And it's like, oh, yeah, I can see you just did that and this. It's like, oh, thank you. You know, and it's like, that's how I want all my friendships to be.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, God. High five. That's
Yeah.
nice.
Right?
I think those festivals are kind of like a little showcase or a little like field testing of how society could be. And I like the idea that,
Oh yeah.
they're waging peace. They're not waging war, they're waging peace on the world. And then
Oh
people
yeah.
go out from these meetings and they, the positivity ripples.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
The
think they're like
the
little.
peace is coming for you guys.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
all about that inner peace. I like
Yeah.
think of like prayers. It's like at the end of every prayer, that's what we want to feel. It's like,
Yeah.
that's why my devotion, my framework is called the path to peace. It's like
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
that deep inner peace. And I remember my teacher was going through a really hard time. And I was like, what's your like desired outcome from this experience? And I thought he would be like, oh, I have a new home for me and my children. And this is the work that I want to be doing. And da 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 da. And he was like, inner peace. That was all he said. I was like, fuck, I get it. Yeah, it's the prayer.
It is. It's all yeah. It is the end goal, truly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have to take time to cultivate on a daily basis what it feels like to feel like in peace in our body, no matter what's going on in our life,
Mm,
because we're creating it.
yeah.
And the stronger that foundation is, the harder it is to shake. And the more I work at it,
Yeah.
the more it takes to knock me off my center, for sure.
Exactly. And then like those tests come in from the universe, and I'm in such a good mood right now. And I'm
Oh
like,
boy.
you've kept me here longer than usual, not freaking out. It's like the fire is being, you're like the diamond is being like refined in the fire. Like I see what's going on. You're pushing me out of like some fear. Like we're in it hard. And like I'm pretty fucking calm still. Like, yeah, I'll have those nervous system shudders and like go in and be like, yeah, we got to come back out. But I'm like, oh, it's just time. It's just like, yeah, universe inviting me into a deeper level of my own teachings and embodiment. So, yeah.
Yeah. Something to be grateful for as
Yeah, then
well.
you have to be grateful because I'm like, say, thank you. Thank you. I asked for this. Thank you. I know everything's about to shift. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Grateful for the highs and the lows. There's a line in the Prophet by Khalil Gibran where that addresses this, where this like fact of the duality of pain and pleasure, how when one dines at your table, the other sleeps in your bed. I think is the line. I'm translating from the Icelandic version. I don't actually know how it's put in the English one. And I think, I mean, yeah, you just gotta be grateful for the valleys, like the mountaintops as well. Because you truly like the peaks wouldn't have any meaning if there weren't the valleys as well. It's a really wild fact, but it's like it's so obvious that everybody misses it. It's
Because
it's
then if we were just like in joy all the time, we would have no baseline for joy. It
yeah,
wouldn't, yeah. But then you go through all this suffering and then you super appreciate feeling happy again and
yeah.
love and all the
Always
experiences.
relative. It's always relative.
But you can have
And that's
peace
why
through
it's
the
like
whole
we all
thing.
have different experiences, right? Because it's all relative to us,
Mm.
Mm.
relative to our perspective.
Mm.
Mm.
Like the law of relativity. Like what you could be going through what I'm going through right now and like you would handle it completely different. Like who knows how you would be feeling, or if you'd be freaking out, or if you'd be even calmer, or if you've already found a solution, or like
Mm.
Yeah.
no, it's relative to your mind, your life experience, your wisdom. It's relative to mine. Yeah.
Mm.
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 Yeah, that's a.
Yeah.
I mean, to a certain extent, that wisdom still needs to sink in for me, I must say. Like, I totally, I understand it on an intellectual level, 100%, but then there's always that part of me. It's like,
Well, I can
I,
recommend
I
one
wish you
book.
guys got it. Like,
Have you
Questioning
heard
it
of?
a little bit
yeah, I'm not question. Yeah, I mean, just being frustrated about it, really.
because you want to feel it in your body more.
Yeah, yeah. So I wanna. I mean, being frustrated that not everybody can see things the way I can see them, you know. Um,
Ooh, okay. We're
and like
kind of
that's a
back at that point.
huh?
I said it's kind of back at that same point of your inner child being like, why don't they see it this way?
Yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah, I was intentionally bringing that back. I came back
Mhm.
up there for me, and I felt like it was related to this topic of like not,
So,
yeah, us all being so different. You know, it's really wild, you know. And if you think about other species as well and the types of consciousnesses that they have, you know, and the different ways we perceive time, you know, flies being all tiny, just see us moving in slow motion and all that type of stuff, and dogs hearing higher pitches than we hear and all we can't imagine. Just and even just being in a yeah, even just perceiving the world the way another human being does can be quite quite different. Like astoundingly different. Because we're all like is so much that nature and nurture can do to us, um, turn us into very very different beasts. Um,
yeah. That's why I feel like the ability to like be able to go in and meet ourself in our own suffering and like in the places we're growing and overcoming and like learning those like core relational skills of compassion and presence and being able to listen and being able to, yeah, give some type of nurturing reflection back is all a reflection of where we've already met ourselves. Because otherwise it wouldn't, you wouldn't know how. So then in that sense, if we relate it back to the law of relativity and kind of where you were like, I feel like I got lost a little bit here. Um, like from that way of learning how to relate to ourself, that creates like an energetic experience of how we're living our life. So we're relating that way with our work, with our money, with ourself, with our partners, with our friends. It's natural for us. And then, so we're going to shape a different perspective in reality. We're actually going to attract in people who speak this language, who meet us in this space, who are doing their inner work, who also kind of work the way that we work, versus like, you know, someone who's not doing this could be going through the exact same experience as the person who does know how to relate to life this way, and they're going to have different people around them, a different experience with themselves going through the thing they're going through, maybe not able to have love and compassion and care and curiosity, right? So it's like everything's forming like deep inside. And like from a lot of the work I did this year and like a lot of heartbreak and stuff after not dating for a long time,
hmm.
um, I was like, damn, our whole realities are literally being shaped by these core relational wounds that got formed so young in our childhood from our mother and father. And until this perspective is like felt all the way through, which is so torturous and shifted, we're going to keep creating it no matter who we meet, where we go, and what we do. And I was like, oh, it was just like a magnifying glass experience.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
resonate with that.
imprinted with pain, and so it shall be released with pain.
Ugh,
Yeah.
hmm
it was hard. I'm not going to lie. But yeah.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, hmm. I won't say that I've definitely been through that to that extent. I don't know what exactly you've been through there, but yeah, certainly I can relate.
Sure, you can
Yeah,
Um,
relate.
same here.
We
Same
can
here.
all relate to heartbreak.
Yeah.
mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah, and mm, these primordial wounds, if you can even say it like that.
Yeah.
This is
Hmm.
just keep reverberating through.
Until it's worked through,
Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
gonna go away.
Laughs like, okay, here's that same lesson again. Since you didn't listen last time, here you go.
Such torture. This is where the frustration comes in, right? It's just like there's been times I've been like banging my head. I'm just like, I can't get out. Help me.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Which is
Yeah.
funny because it's like a plea for help to myself, you know? And
Yeah.
like I read one of Martin's books, it stopped me in my tracks. It was like if you're when you pray, you're praying to yourself. I can't remember which book this was in of his. And I just kept reading that. And I was
Being
like at
human,
that
maybe?
time, yeah, I think it was being human.
Yeah.
And I was like at that time, like in a space of serving Wachuma with my teacher, where everybody would come up to the altar, get a cup of medicine, and make a prayer. And it was like sitting in these ceremonies for hours of people coming up and praying, and all the praying was happening from everything that was wrong in their life. And so when I went to Bufo and I started understanding we're the creators of our reality and every word we're speaking, like everything is having this effect on consciousness and energy and what's coming, what's going in our lives. Like we're shaping these little mini universes. Like I stopped wanting to sit in those ceremonies. I actually stopped. I couldn't listen. And no one was stopping anybody of like speaking from the past and like making all these prayers. But like it's manifesting what already happened.
Yeah.
So yeah, when Martin wrote that in the book, I like remember I was like, we need to talk. Like, what the fuck do you mean by this? And it's like, well, who are you talking to?
I love that.
It already knows. It already heard you. The words are coming out of the same mouth that are listening at the same time. Like,
Yeah. It's a
so
good book.
fascinating.
Yeah.
It's such
Recommend
a
Being Human.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I do still pray, but I like pray from a different place. I try not to be in like that helpless victim on my knees place, even though I've been there like so many times and like be in my creator, like, thank you so much for XYZ and for this and for that, you know.
All right. Big Sky Daddy, come fix all my problems, please.
Yes.
I just want to live
Wait,
in a
why aren't
bubble.
you fixing my problems? Are you busy fixing other people's problems? Why am I not a priority?
It's because we're just asking the wrong question at that point.
Yeah.
We're asking to fix a problem, right? In
Yeah.
Godland, and this came through a Bufo journey. It's like there's no problems, and I'd be like, but what about this and this and this and this? And it was just like, but it's not there. It's already solved. Like you keep making the problem to solve. Your brain keeps doing it, and I was
Yeah.
like, yeah. And I'm like, I'm still integrating that one.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
remember starkly the moment that happened to me. I was walking in the forest on a large field of moss in
Mm,
fresh, not too fresh lava, but it was just like lava and moss. And I was
wow.
walking across this field, and this sentence came to my head: "The only problem is that you think there's a problem."
Mhm. Yeah.
Isn't that wild? So then we go to solve our problems and we can't because we're thinking from the problem.
Yeah,
So
you
it's
can
like
always just
if the
create
problem didn't
more.
exist,
Yeah,
what the mind would be thinking completely different things. Because
yeah,
the problems like it's almost like I don't know, like I'm just gonna use an octopus, right? It's like all these thoughts and actions come to fix the problem, but like we haven't actually fixed the real problem underneath,
right.
which is it's a perspective mindset issue.
And it doesn't mean that you don't have preferences. If I'm hurting in my body, I may want to move my body. It's not,
Mhm.
but that's not a problem per se. But it's
That's not a problem.
yeah,
That feels like an expression.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, but you could look at it as, oh, I have pain. That's a problem. I need to fix it.
Mm.
Um, but thinking of it
Instead of
just as
just
a preference.
spontaneously doing it, like
Yeah,
organically, like
I have a preference for not being in pain. I'm gonna change my posture. There we go. You know, having
Yeah.
preferences is all well and good.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Communication with our bodies.
Hmm.
Yeah, I feel like what's helped me with the mind, with the problem, like not thinking from the problem, it's just like as I build my business, as I create things, as I put out things in the world, my mind will create all the blocks that I think are now problems. And then I'm frustrated with my own problems that I created. And I'm like, wait, why am I stuck? But this person isn't stuck at all. And then that's how I've kind of gotten deeper into this. It's like, well, what if I didn't think that way? What if that's not true?
yeah,
And it's like, wait, poof,
yeah. That's
world
that
in my
to
mind,
totally my
which is
initiation as
consciousness.
well. Yeah,
Yeah. And then the mind is what's creating because the imagination is like the portal between us and the rest of consciousness. We're first showing life through the mind, what we want next as the very first creation. Like if you think of everything that's gotten created, an airplane, the pyramids, like your shirts, someone's home, like whatever. It always appears first in the mind. So then it's like, why can't we can use that same power if we can learn how to not do it on autopilot unconsciously to shape a new reality, new identity through like
yeah.
practiced, like focused.
My initiation would not have worked, I think, unless I'd seen somebody else doing it, just having confirmation, seeing somebody else like succeeding at something that I have apparently
Yep.
thus far only ever failed at. So like what's this person doing right? How could I learn something from them? Because I mean I was raised an atheist, so I took some convincing, I really
Yeah,
um
same here.
yeah. It's just
Convincing I got in the end,
yeah. I mean it but it could only
unmistakably.
I was like at 14, my favorite hobby was like hanging around on YouTube videos of like really long form debates, public debates, Christianity versus atheism
Yeah,
type thing. You
same
remember
here.
that? The big pit when atheism came onto the scene in kind of like a big way.
Yeah.
I was on that. Sam Harris, if you know him, he was like my intellectual hero. He was just ripping into all these representatives of Christianity, just like tearing apart all the argument. I was like, yes, you go, Sam. Amazing. You tell him.
Tribalism.
Yeah, it was that.
My team. I did the exact same
Yes.
thing, and I remember the kick of like, yes, like destroy this irrationality with the bulldozer of logic.
Exactly. It just feels so good to be right. It's just
Yes.
no, no better feeling.
And I'll let you go. How did you
Uh,
get from atheist to having a podcast on consciousness? Like who helped you? Who was the bridge or what was the bridge?
exactly. I was gonna get to that. My two friends that I made back in Iceland, Ivan Mentes is one, and Stefan Eli Hewkii is another. Um, when I was I don't know, sometime in my late teens, or maybe, yeah, it's like did we meet when I was 17, 18, maybe 19? I don't even remember. Um, but they both went in for this kind of what I thought of and still do from time to time, a spiritual mumbo jumbo, and and I was like, and we kept having because we became very close friends, the three of us, and I was kind of the bringing the rationalist perspective on
Mm.
the arguments, whatever topic was being discussed. And I'd always stress this proof of evidence,
Mm.
like how do you know that this stuff you're saying, like how can you allow yourself to just say all these things that you have no evidence for? Like what are you it seemed so outrageous to me at the time. Just like, damn, I can't even fathom where you got the confidence to say this with that much confidence. Like, wow. Because I know for a fact you have not verified any of it. Um, So, but then eventually I just had to admit, they were doing something right that I wasn't. Because they were like, I just looked up to them so much. I've had a pattern for a longer time than that, actually, of making friends that I look up to, that I can learn something from. When I notice, something impressive about that person, I wanna get close to you. How do you do that thing that you're doing? I want to get some of that. Um, so I've been very consciously doing that for a while, but I think in this instance, that was definitely the craziest kind of beliefs turnaround. It's just a total 180 eventually. Um, like, yeah, it actually, because I used to think of intellectual honesty as my highest value, not kidding myself, essentially.
Mm.
Um, and then I realized there's some stuff to believe in that actually is worth believing in, but simultaneously not really verifiable. Stuff that's just you believe in because you choose to, because it makes the world a better place, not because it's necessarily true. And so I swapped out happiness for my first, for the top value in the hierarchy of values, if you want to put it like that. Um, and since then, I've allowed myself to believe in things that aren't verifiably true, and I think that was a good thing.
Right. And did that change your reality, do you feel like? Because you
Oh
became
yeah,
so much bigger than yourself?
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just, yeah, it's been an unbelievable journey so far. It's always expanding. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
I had my turnaround on 5 tabs of acid and I got the verification. Okay, here's God. Here you go. This is proof. Okay, thank you.
No denying. That was it.
Oh, five
I
times.
went into all of this with I need the evidence, I need the proof, and I got the proof. It's out there
Amazing.
if you're
Yeah.
brave
I
enough to
feel like,
dive into it.
yeah, it's like we want to know, we want to believe, we want to feel in our body. And it's like teaching about God and this concept of what God is. It's like why I do also like being able to work with Bufo with people that I do coaching with. It's like it gives them a baseline for a feeling I'm trying to help them connect to within themselves. Yeah, so to get to have these experiences, and I feel like my first real understanding came right before I mean, Bufo helped me find this, but like what Chuma showed me, which is San Pedro, the cactus with mescaline, right before I went to my Bufo training. And this like I remember me, a teacher, and I set up, we drank medicine, set up the ceremony, and then she passed out, and I was like tripping by myself in my house. Yeah, and this like image came through, which is now a tattoo on my back, and it's like the logo for my business and my church. And it was like, God is you, you are God, you're the same thing. And it was my first time like getting, I was like, whoa. I was my first time getting this message of like, what? Like literally, like the right before I led to Mexico, my teacher was like, well, you don't trust God, you don't trust yourself, you don't love God, you don't love yourself. Like God, 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 you know? And it was like the universe like primed me for like where I was going and what I was experiencing. So yeah, my work with Bufo ended up being the path to help me to the best that I can in this human body in this human moment understand what God is.
Mm.
Oh.
Yeah. Well,
Well, I'm gonna jump to the
I
bathroom.
was gonna say, Hewkes, actually, I do wanna, it's 11:14 p.m. for me right now. I think I would like to hit the hay.
Yeah.
I am amazed I stayed up for this long, but this has been a very stimulating conversation. So
Indeed.
I wasn't planning on it for to go this long, actually. I thought I would be calling quits a little earlier. But yeah, a sign that we need to do a repeat at some point, if you'd ever be available and willing. That was
Yeah, for sure. I
just,
really enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too.
and anything you want to share, where can people find you? And or
Also, make sure you
any
leave
closing
links.
thoughts? Well, yes, we will.
Yeah, I mean, it's super fun to come in and talk about all these subjects and go down all the little rabbit holes with you guys. So, yeah, thank you for having this podcast to just like let people witness, I think, the minds of people doing this work, and that can help inspire folks too on this path, which I really love. Um, and yeah, you can find me on Instagram. I'm at the Priestess Sarah. And you can find my church through there as well. Um, Yeah, I'm just grateful to be here, and thanks for inviting me.
Thanks for listening, everybody. The outro song for today is the song The Celestial Arcade from my side project called Pixel Dream of our only album, Scoop. And it's one of my favorites from this album because it's got this kind of dark thing going on. And it revolves around this chord progression of basically a major chord and then another major chord, an augmented fourth above it. So I've got the keyboard here. It would be something like, and then like this, which sounds kind of dark and menacing, or it's got this.
Sounds kind of spacey to me, honestly. It's like it could be the soundtrack of a space movie or something.
True. Yeah. True.
It reminds me of the soundtrack of a video game called Metroid Prime. I think it was the first one on the GameCube. Metroid Prime. If you know Metroid, it's this kind of space game. Well, anyway.
Well, not heard of it, but anyway. Yeah, it's got this kind of dramatic feel to it, and then it goes into this kind of almost trappy, hip-hoppy, dark thing with this vocal sample on it, which Ole, my co-conspirator in Pixel Dream, he has a lot of the DNA of this song, and he found this sample, and I could never understand what was being said there, and I asked him where does this sample come from, and he said, it's just some sexist thing. I'm like, what, some sexist thing? And then I found it, and it was some Saturday Night Live sketch making fun of sexism or something. The woman dared to enter the conversation with a wild and dangerous opinion of her own.
Oh my God, God forbid. Just watch out, women.
So okay, that's where that sample comes from, but it doesn't sound anything like that on the song for some reason.
I didn't pick up any sexism either.
No. Yeah. No, to be clear, it was a sample making fun of sexism. So Anyway, so that's where that comes from, and then we did a lot of. I sampled some fireworks and put it in there, and all sorts of weird, funny vocal effects, and then it takes a twist. It goes into this Terence McKenna part, and goes into this kind of drum and bass, almost like, I don't know, it reminds me of some sort of Russian feel. I don't know why. Kind of this 180 BPM, super fast drum and bassy type thing.
Mm-hmm. What I really liked about it is I think I like about the whole album as well, is the way you use kind of space. You give space, and then you kind of pull all the elements a little bit further away from the listener, and then all of a sudden you fill up the space again, and it's like, okay, here we go. Mm-hmm. Let's go. So it's like a lot of mini drops almost. Yeah.
Yeah, no, all of that was very intentional, and it's very kind of precision engineered. I get very nerdy with the production on there. So I don't think there's a lot more to say. Enjoy the song. Oh well, actually, there's a funny story I have with this song. Two people that are fans of mine hit me up at some point, and they were like, "What, dude, Pixel Dream? That's you?" And they had been listening, and one of them specifically, or both of them, mentioned this specific song. Like, I love this song, the Celestial Arcade. I had been listening to it for years, and I had no idea it was you. So yeah, it's me and Ole, and yeah. You can hear it's a different sound than usually what I make on my own, because it has a lot of his DNA in it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna listen to it on I'm gonna run 28 kilometers mountain trail run on Saturday. So I think I'll put this one on for that one.
Right on. That's enjoy.
they jump into your body. They jump into your body, and then they jump back out again. And the whole thing is going on in this very high-speed mode where you're being presented with thousands of details per second, and you can't get a hold. And they come forward. They're like jeweled, self-dribbling basketballs. And there are many of them, and they come pounding toward you, and they will stop in front of you and vibrate, but then they do a very disconcerting thing, which is they jump into your body. They jump into your body, and then they jump back out again.